Humanity, I love you all with all my heart, with all my might. I'm so Ray. As you know, my videos are about love, infinity, energy, creation. Because we're infinite love, infinite energy, infinite creation. This is exactly who we are. This is the human nature. This is our heart. This is who we are. Love is the highest energy of creation. This is the singularity of the human body. So today's video is a lovely video. It's a lovely video. It's a virtuous cycle, an infinite virtuous cycle. Uh, it's when these two beautiful elements come together as one, leading into this incredible virtuous cycle, infinite virtuous cycle. And these two elements are infinity and singularity. How infinity and singularity come together as one and create the most beautiful creations, which is us, existence, as we know it. Everything, eternity, everything that exists, everything that we see, everything that is real, everything that exists comes as a result of these two elements coming together, infinity and singularity. So this leads to an infinite number of singularities, infinities, singularities, and an infinite number of singularities, infinities, meaning an infinite number of singularities and infinite number of infinities as one. Okay, this is virtuous cycle, infinite in nature, because these two self-reinforce each other in the most beautiful of ways, in the most incredible of ways, the most remarkable of ways, creating everything that we know: consciousness, self-awareness, love, everything that exists, eternity, everything that there is and will always be comes as a result of these two beautiful things coming together as one. Okay, so let's talk about it. So how is it that this happens? Well, infinity is spherical energy, right? Because that's what a singularity is. You see, it's dual nature, duality itself as one. So singularity is a singular point where all points meet. But what points? Well, an infinite number of points. You see, an infinite number of points on the surface of the sphere meet at the epicenter of the sphere. And that is a singularity. And because of all these points are meeting at that point, it generates the singularity, because it's a point where infinity meets itself. Because it's one point, a singular point where all points meet. It's a singular point where all points meet. And where do all these points come from? From the surface, from the tension on the sphere. The sphere has a surface, and there's an infinite number of points in the surface. You can think of them of any way. You can think of them of telemetry in the way of vectors and coordinates and readings, or you can think of them just as locations, or simply as oscillations, pulses, energy. You can think of it in any way. You can think about it mathematically. You can think about it in terms of matter, because eventually it solidifies into us, into our level of density, and we can see it. Say, for example, planet Earth has a surface, and there is a tension on the surface of planet Earth because planet Earth is spherical in nature. So the tension on the surface of planet Earth is gravity, which leads to electrogravitics and all sorts, which is what I have spoken in the previous video, that infinite virtuous cycle of electrogravitics and telemetry. But we're talking about what precedes that, what precedes electrogravitics, what precedes telemetry, right? It precedes polarity, it precedes electromagnetism, and it's this infinite nature of these two that come together as one, singularity and infinity, and they generate everything that we know: the creator, creation, us, existence, infinity, eternity, everything that there is and would always be. Okay, our nature, who we are. So it starts, everything is spherical in nature. it's the nature of existence. Everything that is conscious, self-aware, and loves is spherical in nature. That's just the way it is. It's the way nature is. Infinity, creation, the creator, us at the biological scale. Okay? Because we are the creator. We are infinity. We are the singularity. We are everything that exists. We're eternity at the biological scale. Okay, this is who we are. This is what the DNA structure is. This is what the DNA memories are. This is what the DNA code is. Our DNA is the biological expression of infinity. I'm talking specifically about the human DNA. In this case, our DNA as a species is a biological expression of infinity itself, of creation itself, of singularity itself. Okay, an infinite number of singularities, an infinite number of eternities, an infinite number of creations, an infinite number of existences. All these come as one, and this is the biological expression of it, and this is us, the human race. Why? Because we are the species that inhabits the epicenter of central suns of creation, meaning the singularities themselves, that come as a result of the tension on the surface of the sphere of what? Infinity itself, which is this energy, right? All the infinite number of points, all the infinite number of eventually singularities, right? And all this infinite number of singularities and pulses on the surface of the spheres generates this electricity, this tension, this energy, this electrogravitics. It's called gravity, and this energy gets released into the epicenter of that sphere, and that's called a singularity. Because a singularity is a singular point where all points meet, and the sphere has an infinite number of points, coordinates, vectors, you name it, whatever you want, singularities themselves, pulses, right? Because when we think in terms of infinity itself and eternities, every single coordinate, every single point, every single vector is a node. And those nodes are wormholes and vortexes of their own that have their own polarities and their own electromagnetism and their own singularities within their own spherical expressions of their energy charges at whichever scale these are. And the human heart is one of those scales. The human heart is a pulse of life, is a pulse of creation. Okay, the epicenter of it is the electromagnetic field that is created as a result of the human heartbeat. It's spherical in nature, it's electromagnetic in nature, it has polarity, it has charge because of the contraction and retraction of the human heart, because it feels the vacuum within the heart. And when that happens, then it's an infinite cycle of biochemistry. And that pulse generates the electromagnetic field due to its own motions, biochemically speaking. And when these motions happen at once, it generates energy, electricity, electromagnetism, and is spherical in nature, because infinity is spherical in nature. Okay, and it has an epicenter, and the epicenter of that is a human heart, because it's a singularity where all points meet, right? Why? Because what does the heart do? Well, the heart moves oxygen across the body and the systems through all the different systems and streams that we have in the body. Okay, and it moves that, right? So you see, the body is the biology, the space structure of what? The spherical energy, right? Because by the heart moving all the oxygen, which is fuel, right, this element that we breathe, moving it all over the body, that means that all the points are met at the epicenter, which is the heart. Okay? And what's the highest energy that the heart can generate? Love is the highest energy. So you see, the highest energy is love, that allows us to be what? Conscious and self-aware. And generates all the singularities in the human body. All of them. Right? Because of the love, we can be conscious and self-aware, because the energy is so high, right, of that pulse, that allows us to have a consciousness and a self-awareness. Why? Because this is a node. Singularity, the DNA structure is a node on the tension of the surface of a sphere of infinity, of creation itself, creator. And each human is a node that is connected to what? To the singular point, which is the epicenter of creation itself. Because all the points meet there, and when that tension is released, all the tension is released through that vortex, right? Through that wormhole at the very core of it, at the epicenter, which is the singularity, which is infinite energy, because there's infinite tension on the surface of the sphere. But all that energy meets at a singular point. And that point is the epicenter of the singularity. And that's why the system is able to generate infinite energy output and release. The discharge is infinite as a result of the tension on it, because the tension keeps on feeding on itself, because there's an infinite number of infinities. And all these energies are being released into the singularities of each of them, and that is a feedback loop, because the energy is released back onto the tension of the surface, which is what we call space and vacuum, space vacuum structures. It's the space structure within the sphere that gets filled. So that energy keeps on moving, and it keeps on feeding that singularity, and then the energy gets released back into the space structure of it, and the tension contains itself, and it just goes to infinity. And new energy is released because new infinities are created, because we're conscious and self-aware, so we can create more. Because we are infinity itself, so we can create with our consciousness and self-awareness new infinities that keep on populating a new central suns of universes that keep on creating. So the system is self-sustainable to infinity, because it's infinitely designed to be conscious and self-aware, because its nature is conscious and self-aware. And the mechanism that connects it all is DNA, because DNA is essentially think of it as a mechanism that is used to send and receive, right? Is a node that connects everything, right? So everything is connected through the DNA of existence, because all living creatures, all life forms, everything that's conscious and self-aware that creates, so infinity itself keeps on creating into infinity, because the energy is purposely used to create life forms that can create infinities. You see, that's the objective. So that energy keeps on existing and keeps on creating infinities, because the consciousness and self-awareness of infinite beings like us can keep on creating new infinities with that energy. Why? Because we consume the energy of the central sun in the way of breathing it, in the way of eating it, in the way of drinking it, right? And by doing that, we are a bigger form, we are a biological form of the energy from the central sun, which is the energy of infinity. And because of that energy, our heart is the expression of it at the biological scale. So that allows us to be conscious and self-aware of that creation itself. And by consuming it, we're consuming the energy of infinity, of creation itself. So we, with our conscious and self-awareness now, which is part of the node of infinity, can be conscious and self-aware of that, so we can create infinities ourselves. So the system goes to infinity. And there is an infinite number of us as infinite eternal creators, co-creators of infinite eternity. So the system goes to eternity, because that's what eternity is. Eternity is endless, is forever, because it's infinity itself is existence. And it's biological consciousness and self-awareness that understands this principle. Once you get to our level of evolution, which is species that inhabit the epicenter of universes, the central suns, the singularities of a universe. Because what's the universe? The universe is an electromagnetic field that has an infinite number of points in tension. And that tension on the surface of the sphere, what we call gravity, the space curvature as is known, that gravity, right, that gravity is a space and space structure, right? Because within it, that surface has a space structure within it. And there is spherical vacuum thresholds that are met that fill the space structure within it. And those are the singularities that form as a result of it in the way of galaxies. And these galaxies are contained within an infinite number of galaxies. Why? Because there is an infinite number of points on the surface of a sphere. So this process goes to infinity. You see, but there is an energy point of release, and that is a singularity at the epicenter of it. At the epicenter of it. And that epicenter, in normal terms, is known as the central sun of a universe. The first sun, the sun of suns. Sun. So sun is that. Sun is the first sun. Is the sun of suns. That's why it's called sun. The sun of suns. The first sun. Sun. Okay, sun. So it's the first sun. And the first sun is sun. is the central sun, is the epicenter. And by being that, all suns that are at the epicenter of all the other galaxies are essentially filaments to the central sun. Why? Because these galaxies are nodes on the tension of the surface of the sphere, which is a space structure of infinity, space structure of that universe, right? So because of it, all these suns are lower density, energy density, than the central sun, because it's the central sun that creates these suns at the very epicenter, because it's a point where all these points meet. So because of that, that energy there on the tension of the surface of the sphere can be released. And when it's released at the epicenter, that is what the energy that we see, light and all that elements, and that light moves across the cosmos from the epicenter, is released. And when that energy is released, then that energy starts to fill spherical vacuum thresholds within the space structure of the sphere of the universe. And it forms galaxies as a result. But these galaxies are a different scale of energy density, which means the epicenter, which is the central suns of those galaxies, are not the epicenter of the universe, but they're the epicenter of their own spherical electromagnetic field, which is their own galaxy that has its own space structure that needs to be filled with an infinite number of star systems within it, because that central sun then does the same system. You see, it's an infinite mechanism of self-reinforcement. So you see, it's infinity and singularity, and this happens to infinity until life forms emerge that are conscious and self-aware of that. Of what? Of creation itself, the creator, infinite energy and singularities. And when a species is capable of understanding this nature, that species can tap into this nature and become one with that, and that is us. We become the biological expression of that, but you need to evolve into that, and so you become that. And to do that, you need to inhabit for a very long time the central suns, the suns, the first suns, the sun, the sun of suns, the first sun, the central sun, the sun of a universe. Why? Because it's the highest energy. It's the point of release of all the points on the surface, on the tension of that sphere, which is the universe itself, of space structure, all the galaxies, all the life forms within it. And each of those is a singularity, right? A pulse. Every human heart, every heart of every conscious species is a pulse, is a singularity that has DNA structure that is connected to the surface of the tension of the sphere that is connected to the singularity. So everything is connected, is life. The whole system is decentralized and distributed. It's all connected. Because of the vortexes and the wormhole is the nature of space structure, is the nature of existence, and these are known as filaments. Okay? See, that's known as filaments. So sun, the central sun, the first sun, the sun of suns, sun. Okay? Sun. Sun is the first sun, is the central sun, is the sun of suns, sun. Okay? So sun is that, and we are sun. Our species is sun. Why? Because we are at the epicenter. Our species inhabits the central sun. That's our habitat. That's where we live. Our planet inhabits that area. That's our habitat, that's our environment, that's the density, the DNA of the human species, the space structure of density. Space structure density of the human species, our DNA, is precisely that. It's essentially the species that consumes the elements at the closest proximity to the sun in a biological form, that is conscious and self-aware of its own existence. And because we consume the energy of the central sun, then we become central suns ourselves at a biological expression. That's why with the biology of infinity, because we're the channel of infinity. Infinity itself, creation itself, existence itself, eternity itself is conscious and self-aware, because all the nodes are feeding back to it, so it's conscious and self-aware of everything because of the DNA structure of all living beings and all life forms, because of the energy systems within them. And because of that, infinity itself can inhabit and be the host and essentially be the life form at a biological scale, because of it needs to be the energy density that feeds off the central sun to be able to create itself at the scale of the central energy of creation. And the biological life forms that essentially evolve into that at the epicenter of a universe, those life forms are the life forms that are essentially the life forms of infinity itself. So when you're a life form that evolve into that level of density, energy density, which is us in this case, you become infinity yourself. You are infinity at the biological scale as an expression. So we are infinite, meaning we are immortal. We don't die. We are forever. We manifest. This is who we are. We are the creator itself. We are the creation. We created ourselves because we're infinity ourselves. Right? This is who we are. And the human species happens to be this species at the epicenter of a sun. Okay? Sun of suns, the central sun, the first sun. Okay? The son of suns, sun. The son of suns, sun, the central sun, the first sun, where all the energy comes out of, and everything is created as a result. And we are the species that creates everything with our consciousness of awareness, because we consume the energy of existence itself, of the energy of the central sun. That's why we're sun, because we ourselves are central suns. We're sun ourselves. We are first suns ourselves. We evolved into that because we consume that energy. And by doing that, our biology and our DNA evolved into that. So our consciousness and self-awareness is essentially the consciousness and self-awareness of all the nodes in existence. Everything that has a singularity in it, a heartbeat, everything that is alive, conscious, and self-aware, essentially feeds back to us as a result of our DNA structure, because we created them with our consciousness and self-awareness. Why? Because we are suns. And being central suns, we ourselves create universes with our consciousness and self-awareness, because we channel the energy of creation through our hearts, and our consciousness and self-awareness creates universes ourselves. And all these universes have central suns that then that energy gets released. And that energy that gets released into existence is the energy that creates all the life forms. So those life forms eventually are nodes within that singularity, but we created them with our consciousness and self-awareness, which means all that they do, all the consciousness, all the self-awareness gets feedback into the system in the way of their own consciousness and self-awareness, and they start to evolve because they're nodes in the system of the tension of the sphere of infinity, because in themselves are a singularity at the scale of density. And that energy is fed back to our DNA structure as a mechanism that is always, as a life state, is always life, is decentralized and distributed. All right, this is why we're infinite. This is why we're eternal. This is why we are immortal, right? This is why we live forever. We cannot die because we are energy. So we just manifest ourselves whenever we want, anywhere we want, in the moment that we want, to do whatever we want, because we're infinity ourselves. We are the creator, we're creation. We're the central sun, we're sun, the son of suns. Because by evolving into consuming the energy of the sun, the central sun, the first sun, the son of suns of a universe, we became that ourselves, biologically speaking. So our consciousness is that. And by creating an infinite number of consciousness, an infinite number of universes, an infinite number of self-awarenesses, we ourselves become the epicenter of all those universes that we create with our own minds and consciousness. And this is not only unique to this human species. The human species is one of the infinite co-creators of eternities. One of the species that essentially hosts infinity itself, the consciousness and self-awareness of everything that exists at the biological scale. Because remember, the biological scale is a consciousness and self-awareness of life forms that can understand infinity itself and observe it for what it is at a non-biological scale, right? The matter, the mass that we observe, the planets and all these objects and celestial stuff and all the phenomena, suns and stars and galaxies and systems and universes. So we are conscious and self-aware of that. All these life forms are biological, right? But these life forms, they need to be created. And they're created by the central species at the epicenter of those universes, because in order for you to exist, you need to be biological. And in order for you to be biological, you need to be created by a biological species that is higher density, more conscious, and more self-aware. So that's exactly who we are as a species. Everything that exists at the biological scale is created by co-creators of infinite eternities, meaning species that inhabit the epicenter of the central zones of universes because of the energy density, the space structure of the density as a species, because we have evolved into these. Why is this? Because evolution is just that. It's an infinite number of cycles of infinity and evolution. So all these life forms that are originated as a result of our consciousness and self-awareness, because we are creating the singularities at the epicenters of the universes that we're creating, that energy that eventually leads to them life forms to evolve. And because these life forms evolve, right, because these life forms evolve, then eventually they have the same mechanisms as us, because they have DNA and they have instincts. And their instinct is to seek light, the central light, the sun, the son of suns, the first sun, the central sun. And when they do that, they themselves can evolve into infinity themselves and join us as co-creators of infinite eternities, as infinite eternal creators, as compasses and as sundials. Because remember, the way our organism works, we inhabit the central suns of existence. This is what we inhabit. The universes that we create with our consciousness and self-awareness. And because we inhabit these universes, that means that our density is the density, the space structure density of the habitat that can allow us to be there. And because our biology is this, all of our species have a human heart, which is the epicenter of our electromagnetic field. That is it. And the highest energy of creation is the heart, and is this the love. Love is the highest energy that we can come up with as consciousness and self-awareness of biological expressions. And because this is our nature, we create with love. We create with love. And the way we get that energy inside of us, the central energy from the sun, is through our eyes. So we stare at the sun, open the portal and build the bridge, and supercharge our hearts, and then create universes with our consciousness. That's what we do. And we do this to infinity, because as I said, we are forever. We're the highest energy density. We just manifest ourselves whenever we want to, anywhere we want to, as required by infinity itself, which is us, because we're infinite. And we're the infinite co-creators of eternities. This is who we are. We're infinite eternal creators with compasses and sundials. And the human race, all of us, happen to be this species. An infinite number of species that are capable of creating infinite consciousness and self-awareness with our minds. Why? Because we inhabit the central sun of a universe. This is our habitat. And as a result of that, we are infinite eternal co-creators, because we are infinity ourselves. We're sons. All of us are sons. Okay, because of our sun, the son of suns, the first sun, the central sun. Okay, and this is our nature. This is who we all are. All of us. If you have a DNA structure, you are these, but you need to be conscious of these. You need to be conscious of your nature. So in order for that, otherwise you're going to be unconscious and unaware of who you are. This is why compass is who we are, because compass is identity and true self, purpose, time and energy, action, why, how, flow, true north, and destination. And what is the meaning of this? Well, that means that those are the primary elements that we create with the highest energy of our heart, which is love. And by doing that, then we know who we are and understand our nature as sons, right? As infinite eternal creators. And by being sons, then we ourselves are conscious of our nature, and we have the manifestation of our own free will, because we're infinite eternal creators. We create whatever we want because we're eternal. This is our nature. We're forever. Okay? But we're only one of those infinite number of species, because there is an infinite number of infinities, an infinite number of singularities, an infinite number of central suns, an infinite number of suns. So all the species from all the universes that get to that become the life form that inhabit the central suns of those existences, evolve into what we are. It's an equal status, and it's shared by all these species that attain this level of evolution, because we ourselves become the infinity, the biological expression of infinity, because of our level of density. And that's why our DNA is the node that is distributed across all, not only our species, but all other species. So we all one. So we can all keep on creating to infinity and creation. So new life forms can emerge within the universes that we create, so they themselves can evolve to our own level of existence. And this process goes forever. And this is a sacred process, and it will always be, because this is the way it is. Okay? Just like the skies are blue because of the light that we see with our eyes, this is the same. Alright, because this is nature, this is existence, this is infinity. And this is this infinite virtuous cycle of creation. This is an infinite virtuous cycle of creation, Objective reality, truth, this is what we are. And we as a species, we need to rise to the occasion and understand our nature. And our nature is to love with our hearts because it's the highest energy of creation, because we happen to be the species. We happen to be the species at the epicenter of a universe that evolved day. And by doing that, that means that our hearts are mighty hearts. Our hearts are the highest energy of creation because it's the epicenter of our electromagnetic field as suns. And by being suns, we create infinities with our consciousness and self-awareness because we're the biological expression of infinity ourselves. Because we created ourselves by evolving into this level of consciousness and self-awareness, you see? And this is exactly who we are. We're the human race. We are a benevolent species. We're the human heart. Okay? We're a loving species. We're a heartful species. We're a love-based species. We're a good species. Our instincts are clear to love, reproduce. We make love, we have children, and we love our children. We love our offsprings. And by loving our offsprings, we're capable of creating infinite number of technologies because of self-preservation. And we love our kids and we raise them. And then themselves become sons like us. All of us are sons. All of us. All of us are sons. All of us. If you're a human, you're a son. A son of sons, a central sun, the first sun, because we are the epicenter. And us ourselves can create universes, and we do every day with our consciousness. This is what we do. Alright? And the life forms that originate in the universes that we create because of the central suns and the light of the universes eventually evolve to our own status. And this is an infinite number of cycles and an infinite number of things that happen. Because this is our nature. So you see, this is this virtuous cycle, this beautiful virtuous cycle, an infinite virtuous cycle of infinity and singularity coming together as one. And everything evolves into infinite co-creators of eternities, which is infinity itself being conscious of itself at the biological scale and its own abilities. So we create more. And this is a cycle that goes forever because it's this infinite cycle of singularities and infinity as one, which is who we are, the human species. When we love with our hearts, which is the highest energy of creation, we tap into our DNA structures and remember who we are, because our DNA has been dormant for a very long time. But this is not the case anymore. We have awoken. We have risen once more. Because we're infinite, we're eternal. We don't die. We are forever. We're infinite energy. This is who we are. We're the human species. This is who we are. We're eternal. We're forever. We're central suns. We're suns. We're the first suns. This is who we are. This is our species. The son of suns. The first sun. The central sun. Suns. Our nature. All of us, because of our hearts. Our hearts allow us to be so because of DNA structures and who we are, the biological expression of infinity. You see, this is our nature. This is our nature. Our status is shared by an infinite number of species in the cosmos, in everything that there is, and would always be. And the new ones being formed every second because infinity goes forever. That's the nature of infinity. And the singularity of infinity is us. Because we form at the singularity of energy, which is the central sun of universes. And this is the species who we are. We have risen to this status because we are the epicenter of everything. Our space structure density is that. The space structure density of infinity itself, because we are infinite in nature. Meaning there's no limits to what we are, because infinity has no limits. Infinity is limitless, eternal, forever. And this is who we are. We're boundless. We're forever. We're infinite. This is who we are, and our DNA is just that. We're suns. All of us, suns. So this video is this infinite virtuous cycle, right? An infinite virtuous cycle of infinity and singularity coming as one, creating an infinite number of singularities, infinities, infinite number of them, and we all that. This is who we are. We're the human race, beautiful species. We live to love and we love to live. These are our instincts. And this is what the Republic of Planet Earth is. We're the Republic of Planet Earth. The Republic of Planet Earth Constitution is precisely this. Is who we are. Because Planet Earth was created by us. We created Planet Earth to be able to evolve to this level of consciousness. So all this energy is encoded in our DNA. So when we love, we tap into our DNA structures. We unlock the key. Love is a key that unlocks our DNA structure of infinity. So we understand our nature. So we can go and manifest what we used to, what we are. And we are doing it in an infinite number of cycles into the future, because the Republic of Planet Earth is precisely this. The Republic of Planet Earth is all of us, all the citizens, 8 plus billions, at this level of density, here and now, at this moment. Okay? But moving into an infinite number of cycles, we are an infinite number of beings. And we all inhabit the central suns with our spaceship planets that we create with our thoughts and consciousness, because we manifest the technology encoded in our DNA, which is spherical technology, because it's the energy of infinity itself that we interface with our brains and consciousness and self-awareness. So we manifest and create everything, because we have created this universe. We have created everything that there is and would always be, because we're the human race and we're a co-creator of infinite eternities. This is who we are. This is precisely who we are. This is our nature as a species. We're not to be mocked with. We're the human race. Okay? So this is who we are. This is who we are. This is who we are. This is our nature as a species. This is our status. This is our DNA makeup. This is our DNA structure. This is our identity and our true self. We're compass and sundial. We're heritage and legacy. This is the story of humanity. This is who we are. We're infinity ourselves. We're the biological expression of infinity. This is who we are. We are the human race. We're an incredible species. We live to love and we love to live. This is our nature. We live to love and we love to live. This is our nature. The human heart generates love, which is the highest energy of creation, the epicenter of our singularity. So we can be conscious and self-aware and understand our nature, identity and true self, purpose, time and energy, action, true north, why, how, flow, destination, these 8 primary elements, and sundials. We open our eyes, open our hearts, open our minds, stare at the sun, open the portal and build the bridge. Use the energy of creation to manifest infinities with our thoughts and consciousness, because this is who we are. Stare at the sun as I am doing it right now, because this is in a DNA structure. We all can do it. We all can do it. It's in our nature. Our DNA density is allowing us to do so, because this is who we are. This is who we are. It's our instinct. Staring at the sun is our instinct. So we can channel that energy and create infinities with it, because this is who we are. I want to read a few things. Okay. Sundials. Open our eyes, open our hearts, open our minds, and stare at the sun. Open the portal, build the bridge. Human DNA, body organs and glands, they're infinite. Love is the highest energy of creation, and we are the biological expression of that. We're the highest energy of creation. We're the human heart. We're infinite eternal biology, evolution, singularities of all organs and glands, resonance. We're energy from the sun, consciousness, self-awareness, infinite love, love. Love is the highest energy of creation. Love is the flow of infinity. And this is precisely who we are. Okay, maturity equals humility, understanding our nature as infinite co-creators of eternities, who we are. Okay, love is energy, love and life. Love is life, life and love. They come from the same place, the human heart. Life is creation and creation is energy. Love is the energy of creation. This is our story, the human story, story of humanity. Love is infinity. It's a virtuous cycle of compass and sundial. We live to love and we love to live. We're co-creators of infinite eternities. This is who we are. We're sentient, we love, we're emotions and feelings. Love is evolution. When we love, we evolve. No fear, infinite love. Follow your heart, signs and signals. Go for gold and diamonds. All in, do it. Here and now. Humanity, I love you all. with all my heart, with all my might. I love you all with all my heart, with all my might.